What's good, y'all, man? We got Servant Season 2, Episode 6 breakdown, man. So, hey, like it, sub, hit the bell. Good show again, man. 10 out of 10. Feel me? You know what I'm saying? Mark is a hard head. You feel me? You know, he's a hard head person. He don't listen. And then you realize, like, you gotta get this stuff done. You feel me? You know what I mean? But, hey, we just know he hard head. No cap. But yeah, though. Let's see.
Did any of you catch this image of Miss Casey?
I don't. Did I? I don't know. I don't know, man.
How does this hint that Mark is going to be a father? And why does my girlfriend say this after I come out of the washroom?
What is that smell?
I'm joking, I don't have a girlfriend. All these questions plus all new clues and theories in this week's episode of Severance. Hot off the heels of finding Irv's hidden sketch of the export hallway, Dylan catches Helly and Mark up to speed. He found this note after Irv's final message to him at the Ortbo retreat.
Just remember, hang in there.
The thinking is that this elevator might lead to Miss Casey. However, Dylan isn't too keen on going himself.
Okay, I don't want to get in trouble right now.
There's a lot at stake for him. In episode 203, Dylan's wife...
Yeah, because he can make his wife. That's why he like, I don't want to get in trouble right now, you know what I mean? Because they might shut this shit down. So he like trying to play on the safe side and shit. And the wife kissing the Annie. I kind of figured out because she loved the Annie more though. And then she's gonna say, "Oh, he was canceled." I'm like, man, stop all that line and shit. And then the baby daddy, he ain't give a fuck. He's like, "Oh, it's canceled." Oh, I don't know. Baby daddy, I don't know what the fuck going on with baby daddy though.
Gretchen told him that his entire Audi family
That's a baby daddy like.
his job at Lumen, and he wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. Furthermore, the bubbling relationship between him and his Audi's wife would be severed if he fell out of Lumen's good graces. Even the cinematography is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he don't want to fuck that up. So that's why he like, I don't want to get in trouble and shit. Because season 1, he didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, but now he like, they did that shit for him. He can see his, his wife and shit. For the outer world.
Here with the mirrors symbolizing our Innie's dual lives. In fact, mirrors are used in pretty much every episode to emphasize this. Notice how they're all using their Irv mugs from last episode's bereavement ceremony, which I thought was a nice touch. When Mark opens the fridge, we see some Lumen lunches, and I believe this is the first time we see how our Innies get their meals. In the Severance podcast, showrunner Dan Erickson explains,
the way that the lunches work is that, if you're an Innie, you have a lunch in the fridge ready for you every day. And you don't get to pick it because those are selected in advance at the start of the week by your Audi.
The fridge is where we see Mark's Audi life seep onto the Severance floor, just like his Innie life seeped into his Audis at the end of episode 205.
Yeah.
This being a result of his reintegration. We'll see that mystery cream liquid, which is supposed to help with his sickness, and some split log beer. An apt name considering our characters' minds are split in two. Mark decides to tell Helly about his romantic hookup with her Audi during Orpo. Forgetting the #1 rule, what happens at Orpo stays at Orpo. And I don't think I've ever felt as uncomfortable talking about sex when Mark refers to it as sharing vessels. Helly doesn't take this news very well.
Yeah, she like, hold on, I gotta, she was like, hold on, I gotta take a walk right quick. Hold on, I gotta take a walk right quick. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, hey, at least he told, like, hey, at least he told, you know what I'm saying? At least he told, though. I mean, I didn't know he gonna tell, though. I thought he was keeping it to himself. I mean, he already know, Mitchell. He already know and shit. So,
Well, over the past few days, she's learned her Audi has been masquerading as her, slept with her crush, and was nearly drowned to death. This girl needs a mental health day. But if there's one thing we know about Helly is that she has a take charge, I'm not gonna take this shit type of attitude. Ow! This is actually in contrast to Helena. Take, for example, how it was Helly who made the first move on Mark. How she is the one to ask Mark to have sex. Meanwhile, Helena couldn't muster the courage to kiss him in episode 202.
yeah, and ain't gonna lie, that's what we know. I was like, yeah, something's up with her. And that wasn't her. That was the Audi her. But I was like, something's up. Because usually the other one be like, you know what I mean? Or want to, you know, kiss and stuff. And
Agree. While it may seem like Helena has more freedom than Helly, I would argue this isn't exactly true. Helena is trapped into doing what her father
yeah, she trapped, man. I think Annie got more freedom than Audi.
and the board want her to do. She is merely another Lumen pawn and was pretty much forced to go back to the severed floor, even though she's almost died twice. By asking
Oh,
her to
yeah.
have sex, Helena regains her bodily autonomy. It's about power, agency, choice, and dignity. Not to mention cool tints. Notice how Helly says this about Helena.
She dresses me in the morning like I'm a baby.
Our innies are treated like children who have no real idea about the outside world. Their minds are like blank slates. Even the intro credits have babies in suits, which highlight this metaphor.
Oh,
The
yeah.
child, Miss Huang, oversees them. Lumen wants our innies to be uninfluenced by the outside world. But why? It could be because it makes them easier to control. But it could also be that outside influences may have detrimental effects on their work. If they are reconstructing the minds of Miss Casey and even Kier Egan, as one theory suggests, you don't want anything affecting this work. Lumen is so militant about this that in the Lexington letter, the Audis are informed never to wear logos or patterns to work. After Mark and Helly's office sexcapade, Mark experiences a nosebleed, and I put my money on that being a result of his reintegration, not his reinsertion. I regret saying that. While Miss Huang helps him out, he experiences more shifts between his innie and outie world. Last episode, we learned that reintegration isn't as simple as flipping a switch. It's a process that takes several sessions. This has slowly started to take over Mark's mind until last episode it culminated in his outie seeing his wife. Ragabi doesn't have many answers for Mark, unsure of what Lumen is doing to Gemma, but stating that she is, quote, essential. This likely ties into the mystery of what is Cold Harbor. Until the process is complete, Ragabi notes he'll fill gaps in time until it all comes back together. But to speed up the process, she'll have to do something she refers to as flooding the chip. This is a process we'll see at the end of the episode in which a needle is inserted into Mark's brain.
I don't know, that shit got her. He ain't fade. Like he felt that shit.
The area around the chip is flooded with an unknown substance. I also wonder if the show is playing with our conception of time. Are the scenes inside Lumen taking place at the same time as the scenes outside? With Ragabi stating
Oh,
there's
yeah.
long gaps where he doesn't remember
Maybe.
anything, we can't take him as a reliable narrator. There are many more time discrepancies, which I'll get into in a little bit. Famished from his reintegration, Mark enjoys a meal at Zufu Chinese. Zufu meaning grandfather in Mandarin, but look at the sign here. The light behind Z and U is out, instead highlighting the F and U. Fu in Chinese means father. This is not a random coincidence. It's a clue that Mark is going to be a dad, lending further proof that what Miss Casey said at the end of episode 205 was, your outie is going to be a father. Knowing this adds a little more context to the extremely awkward conversation between Helena and Mark. Her demeanor is flirtatious, while his is standoffish. She's come under the pretense of apologizing for the OTC incident, but Milchek already did that in episode 2. I think she's come for two reasons. She's obsessed and carrying his child, although the jury is still out whether she knows she's pregnant, but her intimating that he should come and meet her father suggests she does. Don't just ask a random employee to come meet the head of one of the world's biggest companies. I also like how Mark got 2 fortune cookies, almost as if one is for him and the other for his innie. Note that he only eats one. And can we talk about all these trophies? It's an uncomfortable amount, all of them seeming to have birds on the top, and a lot of them are tucked away in the back. The red color scheme also falls in line with red being the color of the outside world. Notice how Helena gets Gemma's name wrong. She obviously knows who Gemma Scout is, considering how important the Cold Harbor file is. My guess is that she is purposely trying to mislead how much she really knows about him. Then there's Mark's cough, which started last episode. The show has made a point to show him coughing multiple times. Is this merely a cold from his Orpo excursion or result of reintegration? The question I had at the end of the scene is, what about it made Mark change his mind about getting his chip flooded? And I think part of the answer lies in the sound design. Take a listen to this subtle whoosh sound. I'll play it one more time.
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
It's the same type of sound we hear when Mark experiences moments of reintegration. What?
I didn't say anything.
I think he could be seeing Helena as Helly. Combine this with their awkward conversation, and Mark returns to the room ready to inject his brain. All we really know about this is that it's supposed to speed up the reintegration process. I also thought it was interesting where Gabi wears a similar black lumen mask like Milchek wore while
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, she was like the surgeon. She was a surgeon that was doing shit. That's what it looked like.
planting of Ellie's chip back in season 1.
Yeah.
Things couldn't get any more complicated right after his chip is flooded, his sister knows.
Yeah, I was saying. Somebody else not gonna do and shit. And then he so hard. He supposed to calm down. I mean, you know, supposed to slow down, relax. He over there won't answer the door and shit.
Devin's been helping Mark in his schemes to get a message to his innie, and she actually thinks she has a new idea, referring to the rich lady from the birthing cottages. This is a reference to Gabby Arteta, the wife of Senator Angelo Arteta, who seemingly used severance technology to forget about her child's birth. However, it's also implied at the gala that she severs herself when dealing with the kids. Almost like her innie deals with the kids and her outie can enjoy a life without them. Just what Devin plans to do with her remains to be seen. But having both your innie and outie living in the outside world at the same time has huge implications for the show. But what I really want to talk about is what happens to Mark when Devin arrives, particularly this image of Gemma that flashes for only a few frames.
Yeah, I ain't see that.
Impossible to catch with the naked eye. Notice her frazzled hair and purple top. Purple is a color that signifies the joining of the innie and outie worlds. It's the color you get when you mix red, the outie color, with blue, the innie. I think what we're seeing here is Gemma the day she died in the car accident, the day her outie life ended and her innie life began. There's also Mark's trembling right hand, foreshadowing his seizure. We saw how the reintegration procedure made the same hand tremble in 203. Asking what that smell is also indicative of a stroke or seizure. Now, is Mark dead? I highly doubt it. We have Ragabi here who will probably make sure he's okay. Next episode is titled
he ain't dead.
Bardo, the Tibetan Buddhist concept that refers to the transition state between life and death. So it's possible we may see Mark regaining his consciousness and recalling his identity, which is associated with this concept. But I want to bring up an interesting thing I noticed. Earlier in the episode, we see Dylan's wife, Gretchen, has an award for Dispatcher of the Month. Perhaps she's the one who will answer a 911 call for Mark, and this might lead to her being the one to bring in messages to our innies. Gretchen and Innie Dylan take things to the next level by kissing. And you gotta remember, this would be Innie Dylan's first kiss. Gretchen even lies to her husband.
Yeah.
Meeting with his innie was canceled.
Yeah, she gonna say it's canceled.
But is this cheating? 100% yes. An innie is a different person who just so happens to be in the same body as an outie. Later in the episode, we'll learn that the church's position on severed individuals is that they indeed have two separate souls, which leads us to Irv's dinner with Bert and Fields. Last episode, we saw how Bert was tailing Irv, looking to get information on why this man was knocking on his door in the middle of the night. After finding out the two worked for Lumen, Irv was invited over to dinner. Bert's home is rather odd, from this strange clown painting to the largest collection of pepper shakers I've ever seen. And this is just the icing on the cake of all the weird stuff we'll learn. First is Bert and Fields' nickname for one another, Attila, which also happens to be the title of this episode. Instead of calling each other Hun, they changed it to Attila, as in Attila the Hun, the 5th century warlord. It's an interesting pet name for two men who appear to be God-fearing, since Attila's nickname was Scourge of God. Fields jokes that Bert is a Philistine, or someone who doesn't have much love or understanding of the arts. This is in contrast to Bert's innie, who had a profound appreciation for art, and it's one of the things he and her bonded over. We also have mention of the Whole Mind Collective, an anti-Lumen group we saw briefly in Season 1. Apparently they once tossed red paint on Irv on his way home from work. But it's this conversation about heaven and hell that has me the most intrigued. Bert was apparently a scoundrel in his younger days. We never learn how bad of a scoundrel he was, but it's enough for him to question whether he'll spend eternity in hell. So he and Fields hopped a train to get to church, which I found very odd. I mean, who takes a train to get to church? By the way, you can hear a train in the background of Irv's apartment before Drummond breaks in.
Yeah.
It so happens at church there was a sermon discussing this very topic. Fields even states it's as if the pastor was, quote, listening to our conversation. This screams Lumen interference. According to Fields, the church's position is...
So an innie can go to heaven.
Once the outie burns.
This is what caused Bert to get severed. His outie will burn in hell while his innie is in heaven. If that isn't a grim metaphor for severance, I don't know what is. The goal here is that Fields and Innie Bert would be reunited in heaven, but there's a problem. Innie Bert wouldn't know Fields in heaven, but he would know Irv. There's also this discrepancy of when Bert was severed, which raises a ton of red flags. Field says Bert was severed 20 years ago, but the first severed office only opened 12. I don't think Fields was drunk and misremembered. There must be something deeper. Time is one of the biggest themes in Severance. Last episode we saw Irv had worked from quarters 870 to 882. Let's do a little math. If there are 4 quarters in a year and 882 quarters, that means Lumen has been around for roughly 220 years. For argument's sake, let's say the current year is 2024. Minus 220 from that, and you get the year Lumen was founded in 1804. But how is that possible when Lumen's founder, Keir Egan, wasn't even born yet? I'm cooking up a whole different video on how Severance may take place in an alternate time or world than our own, but that might have to wait until the end of the season. Now, we also learn that Fields met Bert's prior Lumen partner 20 years ago. The only other male I could think that might have worked with Bert may be the mysterious dentist who frequents O&D who we met last episode, although the evidence of this is thin. Fields calls out Bert and Irv, wondering if they're in his quote, unprotected sex. And I think it's no coincidence that he used the word unprotected, as Lumen probably doesn't have any spare condoms lying around, and it would accentuate the theory that Helly is pregnant. Irv ends up thanking Bert for the evening, saying it was fun even considering how awkward it got. He wants to do it again, with or without Fields, and this final shot of Bert looking at Irv leads me to believe he's up to no good. Speaking of someone who's up to no good, we have Lumen higher-up Drummond breaking into Irv's house. He isn't really breaking in, considering he has a full set of keys.
Yeah, that was
as a security measure by Lumen in case they ever had a problem with one of their employees. If he has keys to Irv's, whose other places has he gone into? Regardless, Irv's been terminated, so Drummond shouldn't have access to these at all. We'll once again see his frolic tattoo, one of Keir's 4 tempers. Now, I couldn't really see here, but it does look like Drummond has a key for Irv's secret chest. This guy would have had to have known where this chest is. Not only is the chest tucked away in Irv's closet, but he'd have to know the secret compartment underneath Irv's father's uniform, which contains all these documents. This suggests Lumen may have bugs and or security cameras all over town. Think back to that one weird scene in episode 203 where Milchick goes through his computer and we see a screen called Active Surveillance Source List. This has yet to be explained, but sure points to the fact that Lumen is listening. In fact,
wow, they've been looking.
15th, the same thing. Some of the stuff we see in this chest we saw back in season 1, and some of it I couldn't decipher due to the quality, like this cursive writing here. But there are a few things I want to bring to your attention, like the name Andrew Baseman on the severed employee list. That's the name of Severance's set decorator, but look at the severed date, June 2008 or 2009, which would make it near that 12 years since the first Severance office opened, depending on what our present day is. There's even an earlier severed date of 2007 belonging to a Sam Clemmer. Irv also underlines certain letters, but as far as I could tell, they don't make out any sort of code. Irv has a background in the military, so I wouldn't count that out. The scene ends with Drummond staring at the name Bert Goodman. Perhaps that's where Drummond is off to next. After last episode's disastrous performance review, Milchick takes a bit of a back seat this episode, telling Miss Wong that he'll be busy for most of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Practicing putting paper clips on the correct way, one of the things he was chastised for in his review. If you're curious what he's clipping together, they're general announcements from the desk of Mr. Milchick. In the episode 5 Inside the Episode video, actor Tremel Tillman confirms that it was Miss Wong who anonymously reported these contentions to his superiors. We also learned that she cannot, quote, graduate from this fellowship until she is deemed wintertide material. This leads back to my theory in episode 201 that she's an intern of some sort, which Ben Stiller confirms.
We wanted to introduce an apprentice intern type who's very young.
She may even be a student at the Myrtle Egan School, the same place Miss Cobell attended. Milchick tells her she'll also have to do away with childish folly, which may be a reference to her playing with Keir toys in her spare time. And we also don't know what this wintertide material is. Maybe it's a specific program to help
I don't know what that is.
School. Over the course of the season, we've seen Milchick become increasingly unhinged, and that becomes ever the more apparent as he tries to fix another one of his contentions, the use of too many big words. And now we get into our trailer sleuthing section, where we go over the season's trailers to see what might be in store. As we near the end of the season, there isn't a lot left to discuss, but let's go over it. In an episode devoid of Miss Cobell, here she is in some sort of cave or tunnel. I'm really curious where her storyline leads us now that she's not going back to Lumen. We have these, what appear to be flashback images of Mark and Gemma making love in the outside world. You can see Gemma's wedding ring. This is followed by a sort of psychedelic shot of Mark hallucinating her back at Lumen. Then there's this shot of Helly or Miss Casey walking down a gray hallway toward the outside. I tend to think it's Miss Casey, but what do you think? We still have another 4 more episodes until the end of season
4
2.
more. Oh,
This
okay.
is where I turn it over to you. What do you think will happen next?
So we got 7, 8, 9, 10. So oh yeah, we got 10. Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like.
But yeah, like it, sub, hit the bell if you're new. Let me know what y'all liking this Servant season 2, man. Let me know comment below. You know what I'm saying? Cause you know I'm fucking with it. And yeah, I'm fucking with it. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Let me know comment below. And yeah, you know, hey, another 10 out of 10 episode. And episode 7, hey, coming soon next week. But like it or sub, be